What is up, everyone? Welcome to another Super Smash Bros. Ultimate video. I haven't done one of these videos in a while, but today we're going to be talking about a new ranking that was just released. Obviously, you can see it on the left here. It's called the Echo Rank 2023 Mid-Year Ranking, and it's basically, another private ranking or big compilation of ranking based on different results from mid-year and ranking the players. And I wasn't going to talk about this, however, it seems to get a lot of attention, and I saw this tweet by Spargo where he was basically calling them Mickey Mouse rankings. Now, if you don't know, obviously Spargo's goal has been to get number one for a while, and obviously this places Spargo at number two. So obviously he would be pretty upset seeing this type of result and would call it a Mickey Mouse result. But I wanted to see if this is truly a Mickey Mouse result, and I wanted to look at a few specific people, like one of the players that you see on the right, and why their placing is so whack. So when you go through the list, most of the top 10 don't look that bad. You may argue that some of the placing is off. However, most of the top 10 would be reasonable, right? Acola at number 1, Spargo at number 2. Obviously, many people will say Spargo is number 1 right now, and honestly, in my opinion, he probably is. However, nobody's going to argue that they're not 1 and 2 right now. So you have Tweak 3, Mia 4, Light 5. Many people would argue that he is a little too high just for events that he's gone to this year. He hasn't gone to that many events this year. Leo 6, Riddle 7, Yoshi 7, 8, Sonic's 9, and 10, Kameme. I actually think Kameme does deserve to be in the top 10 based on his results this year. He's traveled to a lot of the American Super majors this year, and he's placed good in all of them. So I think that's actually a good placement. I think the problem with this ranking comes when you look at certain other placements. For example, if we jump to 18, you have your first little outlier of the list. You have Mars on here for some reason. And the reason that this is surprising is that Mars hasn't attended all that many tournaments. I think he's attended 2 majors this year. I think he won a single major and he placed well at the other 2 majors. And he just hasn't gone to a lot of tournaments. But the way that the Echo Rank grades players is that it counts your really good wins and it puts them against your really bad losses. So someone like Mars, who's not gone to many tournaments and has decent results, he's going to have some really good wins, and then he's going to have no bad losses at all, which is going to put him a lot higher than certain other people on this list who you would think would be more deserving of this 18 spot. And if we keep going, the next instance of that is Didi, who I think he's only been to 1 major this entire year. He played well at it. He placed well there. He did good. Other than that, he hasn't been to any other major, but because he doesn't travel that much, because he doesn't go to a lot of these majors, he doesn't have a really bad loss, which puts him a little bit higher on this list. And I think the biggest example of why this sucks as a ranking is, like I was talking about earlier, we go down to number 50, and you see Bloom Forever. Bloom Forever has gone on a tear this year, winning multiple giant European majors. I think he's only lost to Gluttony 1 single time this entire year, and Gluttony, who is a top 11, top 10 range player for all of Ultimate's lifespan, being a solo Bayo main, pretty much winning all of the European events that he goes to. There has been like 1 or 2 tournaments where he's had drops in play. However, his highs have been so high that I think it shows exactly why using like tournament density and taking that out of the equation, I think it hurts rankings, because there's no way Bloom shouldn't be top 20. You can argue even top 10 at this point right now. And I wanted to kind of go through this list because they do provide a little bit of an explanation. They say that it is an attendance agnostic averaging algorithm. So it says every tournament performance by a player is assigned a score based on their finish, wins, and losses, and all tournament performance are averaged together. So this is obviously going to create a skew. If you've ever taken any math class at all, you know how easy this would create a skew, right? If somebody's averaging, if they go to 2 tournaments and they win both of them, compared to a guy who goes to 10 tournaments and they win 4 of them, the person who only wins 2 tournaments, obviously, you would put the other guy higher because he's won more tournaments. But because we look at the average for this ranking, it's obviously not going to be a very accurate ranking, especially when you're trying to figure out who's top 50, top 100 best players in the world. It's not how it works. It's not going to work that way. It says that attendance is more or less completely inconsequential and consistency is important, which is terrible for rankings. If you have Leo going to every single event and winning, And then you have Mars going to 2 events and winning. Obviously, we're going to put Leo over Mars because he's attended more tournaments and he's placed better at more tournaments. It's honestly, I don't really know why they decided to go this route for this type of ranking. They said Echo Rank is not meant to be a high profile endeavor. The goal is to measure overall players' skills rather than grade tournament resumes. I don't really see the point in that. After losing PG stats, we kind of do need a new. Obviously, everybody will wait for the end of year ult rank, and that's going to be like the definitive one that everybody really focuses on. But I don't really think we need another just ranking system. I think people kind of already know where players are at in the world, or at least their general range. You can say that some players are underrated or overrated, but at least the general range for most people is right. People only really care about these types of rankings when they come to specific scores, and when you use an algorithm like this that clearly skews your data, I don't think it's good for anybody. I don't think this has any benefits other than people can use it to say that they're their best player, they're top 50 in the world, when they really shouldn't be, or they should be higher. It even tries to explain it here. As a result, players with comparatively low attendance, such as Mars, DD, and Quid, are ranked significantly higher than what the typical audience may expect, as their sparse attendance is marked by strong performances across the board. Now, there is some merit to going to like 3 tournaments and winning every single one, compared to going to 10 tournaments and only winning 3 times. However, and it does show consistency. However, that's only to a limit. You can't just say, oh, attendance doesn't matter at all, so we're just not going to count attendance at all. I think it's pretty silly. Here it says, it talks about ult rank here actually. It says, note that the tiering system is distinct from the ult rank tier system. Generally, make up at least 60% of the final score. This number can go as low as 40. This means that players whose major performances significantly deviate from their regional performances will have their final score lead towards their majors more. Such is the case of Bloom Forever, though he has otherwise maintained an extremely strong record within Europe. His massive underperformance at King of Fields 95, number 3, plummets him down to 50th for the mid-year. In general, due to Europe's sparsity of large tournaments so far this year, the ranks may be significantly influenced by their performance at King of Fields 95, number 3, and as more large tournaments such as Terra and VCA emerge on the continent, expect European players to settle into a more accurate position. Now, I think this is where the big flaw lies, because certain regions that do not have big tournaments, say all of Europe, you're basically saying that you're grading most of these European players, regardless of the results of the rest of their year. You're letting this data from King of Fields 95, number 3, skew this data in such a way that, these Bloom Forever drops down from 5th to 50th. 50th is insane. I mean, if you don't watch Bloom Forever and you don't look at his resume and go, yeah, this is the 50th best player in the world. You don't do that. And if there is an algorithm like this that cannot identify that type of thought process, it's just a bad algorithm. I don't think there's much else to it. But yeah, it says like, if Bloom Forever had performed the same as Tariq at King of Fields 95, number 3, top 8, he would have been ranked 22nd. You understand how terrible that is for a ranking system? And I get it's obviously not complete since it will change a lot by year's end. But still, even for a mid-rank, to drop all the way down to 50th from, say, 22nd place just because you failed to make top 8 at a singular tournament, when you went to like multiple other tournaments, I think it's pretty bad. The one thing that I think this list did do good is this right here. It says it's also important to note that wins on the same player are not equivalent throughout the year. Players' values adjust as they enter tournaments and get results, and upwards trending players will become more significant wins later in the year, while downwards trending players may exhibit the opposite trend. This is a great addition if your ranking system actually works properly. So obviously it's not going to do but so much because we already said that this is a very skewed ranking. However, say there is a difference between beating certain players when they're in form and when they're out of form. For example, beating MK Leo now probably has less of a result as, say, beating MK Leo in 2019 when he was number 1 in the world, right? Currently he's sitting around 6-5. So obviously, beating certain players at certain times of the year after they've won certain tournaments should get you more credit, right? Generally. Like, nobody would have known if you had beaten Mia before the last 2 years. But now that we know how good Mia is, a win over Mia should count a lot more than a win over Mia in January, since Mia's won like 3 majors since then. It's actually a good system. So it says thus wins on players such as Hurt, Neo, or even Mia and Sonics early in the year are worth less than wins later in the year due to their upwards trends as the year has progressed. Perfect way to describe it. You win more majors, people get more credit for beating you. It's just how competition should work, and it's how these rankings should work in general. We see going through the final conclusion. You see stuff saying like this is new issue. The new issue this time around is tournament and player qualification inflation. I kind of wanted to bounce off of this because I saw people talking about it in regards to Smash Factor and just how Smash Factor is rated. If you look at the current list of Smash Factor, actually let me pull it up right now. Here is the confirmed list, and this is actually excluding Leo and Light, who have not confirmed if they're going or not. But you're telling me that a tournament with Spargo, Tweak, Glutony, Shuton, Zomba, Kameme, Shattuck, Dark Wizzy Mr. Archag, but mainly these first 5, 6, you're telling me that a tournament with probably 6 of your top 15 players in the world is an A tier. I think that is what the big problem is. The fact, and even if Leo and Light both attended, that it would only count as an A tier is insane. That there's no way, and just because of the amount of entrants, there's no way that a tournament of this caliber, with this many top players attending, with this many attendance, is not an S tier. And I think that's what skews these types of results, is because, like it says here, in Japan, as the last 2 Sumabatos have hit Platinum and Maosuma top number 13 reached Diamond Plus. These tournaments are inflating in rank, while other tournaments like Smash Factor are deflating. There's no reason for Smash Factor not to meet that type of inflation metric and go up to an S tier, especially with the amount of talent that's going to be at Smash Factor. For it not to be an S tier is ridiculous. It's a major every single year. It should be a major this year. It should be a super major. There's no reason that Smash Factor shouldn't be a major. But I think the big point is that this is a very skewed ranking, Mickey Mouse rating, if you will. I do think there is merit in them saying that it will change by the end of the year. Obviously, statistics do usually end up evening out. So I want to see how accurate this is by the end of the year. Obviously, I think certain players will move around. But I want to see what your guys' thoughts on this. Do you guys think this is an accurate ranking, even though the math might be off on some parts? Do you think this still accurately represents where Smash Ultimate competitive scene is right now, or do you think it's different? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.